That doesn't even enter my consciousness.
My life is an opera. Look at the Oscars. Look at the groupies. The movies. Look at the
It's only a matter of time before I'm staring at you from the cover of a Wheaties box.
Flex, flex, now I'm flex. Got time to open that purple. Got model bitches.
These are facts.
And what do you plan to do if this whole dream of yours doesn't work
That
out?
doesn't even enter my consciousness.
My life is an opera. Look at the Oscars. Look at the groupies. The movies. Look at the
It's only a matter of time before I'm staring at you from the cover of a Wheaties box.
Flex, flex, now I'm flex. Got time to open that purple. Got model bitches.
These are facts.
And what do you plan to do if this whole dream of yours doesn't work
That
out?
doesn't even enter my consciousness.
My life is an opera. Look at the Oscars. Look at the groupies. The movies. Look at the
It's only a matter of time before I'm staring at you from the cover of a Wheaties box.
Flex, flex, now I'm flex. Got time to open that purple. Got model bitches.
These are facts.
And what do you plan to do if this whole dream of yours doesn't work
That
out?
doesn't even enter my consciousness.
My life is an opera. Look at the Oscars. Look at the groupies. The movies. Look at the
It's only a matter of time before I'm staring at you from the cover of a Wheaties box.
flex, flex, now I'm flex. Got time to open that purple. Got model bitches.
These are facts.
And what do you plan to do if this whole dream of yours doesn't work
That
out?
doesn't even enter my consciousness.
My life is an opera. Look at the Oscars. Look at the groupies. The movies. Look at the
It's only a matter of time before I'm staring at you from the cover of a Wheaties box.
flex, flex, now I'm flex. Got time to open that purple. Got model bitches.
These are facts.
And what do you plan to do if this whole dream of yours doesn't work
That
out?
doesn't even enter my consciousness.
My life is an opera. Look at the Oscars. Look at the groupies. The movies. Look at the
It's only a matter of time before I'm staring at you from the cover of a Wheaties box.
flex, flex, now I'm flex. Got time to open that purple. Got model bitches.
These are facts.
And what do you plan to do if this whole dream of yours doesn't work
That
out?
doesn't even enter my consciousness.
My life is an opera. Look at the Oscars. Look at the groupies. The movies. Look at the
It's only a matter of time before I'm staring at you from the cover of a Wheaties box.
flex, flex, now I'm flex. Got time to open that purple. Got model bitches.
These are facts.
And what do you plan to do if this whole dream of yours doesn't work
That
out?
doesn't even enter my consciousness.
My life is an opera. Look at the Oscars. Look at the groupies. The movies. Look at the
It's only a matter of time before I'm staring at you from the cover of a Wheaties box.
flex, flex, now I'm flex. Got time to open that purple. Got model bitches.
These are facts.
And what do you plan to do if this whole dream of yours doesn't work
That
out?
doesn't even enter my consciousness.
My life is an opera. Look at the Oscars. Look at the groupies. The movies. Look at
It's only a matter of time before I'm staring at you from the cover of a Wheaties box.
flex, flex, now I'm flex. Got time to open that purple. Got model bitches.
These are facts.
And what do you plan to do if this whole dream of yours doesn't work
That
out?
doesn't even enter my consciousness.
My life is an opera. Look at the Oscars. Look at the groupies. The movies. Look at the
It's only a matter of time before I'm staring at you from the cover of a Wheaties box.
flex, flex, now I'm flex. Got time to open that purple. Got model bitches.
These are facts.
And what do you plan to do if this whole dream of yours doesn't work
That
out?
doesn't even enter my consciousness.
My life is an opera. Look at the Oscars. Look at the groupies. The movies. Look at the
It's only a matter of time before I'm staring at you from the cover of a Wheaties box.
flex, flex, now I'm flex. Got time to open that purple. Got model bitches.
These are facts.
And what do you plan to do if this whole dream of yours doesn't work
That
out?
doesn't even enter my consciousness.
My life is an opera. Look at the Oscars. Look at the groupies. The movies. Look at the
It's only a matter of time before I'm staring at you from the cover of a Wheaties box.
flex, flex, now I'm flex. Got time to whip in that purple. Got mad bitches.
These are facts.
I'm wearing Reynolds, Lexus. I'm having fun, just sex with my
And what do you plan to do if this whole dream of yours doesn't work
That
out?
doesn't even enter my consciousness.
My life is an opera. Look at the Oscars. Look at the groupies. The movies. Look at the
It's only a matter of time before I'm staring at you from the cover of a Wheaties box.
Flex, flex, now I'm flex. Got cans whip in that purple. Got mad bitches.
These are facts.
I'm wearing Reynolds, Lexus. I'm having fun, just sex with my
And what do you plan to do if this whole dream of yours doesn't work
That
out?
doesn't even enter my consciousness.
My life is an opera. Look at the Oscars. Look at the groupies. The movies. Look at the
It's only a matter of time before I'm staring at you from the cover of a Wheaties box.
Flex, flex, now I'm flex. Got cans whip in that purple. Got mad bitches.
These are facts.
I'm wearing Reynolds, Lexus. I'm having fun, just sex with my
And what do you plan to do if this whole dream of yours doesn't work
That
out?
doesn't even enter my consciousness.
My life is an opera. Look at the Oscars. Look at the groupies. The movies. Look at the
It's only a matter of time before I'm staring at you from the cover of a Wheaties box.
Flex, flex, now I'm flex. Got cans whip in that purple. Got mad bitches.
These are facts.
I'm wearing Reynolds, Lexus. I'm having fun, just sex with my
And what do you plan to do if this whole dream of yours doesn't work
That
out?
doesn't even enter my consciousness.
My life is an opera. Look at the Oscars. Look at the groupies. The movies. Look at the
It's only a matter of time before I'm staring at you from the cover of a Wheaties box.
flex, flex, now I'm flex. Got cans whip in that purple. Got mad bitches.
These are facts.
I'm wearing Reynolds, Lexus. I'm having fun, just sex with my
And what do you plan to do if this whole dream of yours doesn't work
That
out?
doesn't even enter my consciousness.
My life is an opera. Look at the Oscars. Look at the groupies. The movies. Look at the
It's only a matter of time before I'm staring at you from the cover of a Wheaties box.
flex, flex, now I'm flex. Got cans whip in that purple. Got mad bitches.
These are facts.
I'm wearing Reynolds, Lexus. I'm having fun, just sex with my
And what do you plan to do if this whole dream of yours doesn't work
That
out?
doesn't even enter my consciousness.
My life is an opera. Look at the Oscars. Look at the groupies. The movies. Look at the
It's only a matter of time before I'm staring at you from the cover of a Wheaties box.
flex, flex, now I'm flex. Got cans whip in that purple. Got mad bitches.
These are facts.
I'm wearing Reynolds, Lexus. I'm having fun, just sex with my
And what do you plan to do if this whole dream of yours doesn't work
That
out?
doesn't even enter my consciousness.
My life is an opera. Look at the Oscars. Look at the groupies. The movies. Look at the
It's only a matter of time before I'm
Check,
staring
check,
at you
mic,
from the
check
cover
one.
of a Wheaties
Oh.
box.
Check, check, check. Mic check 1 2 1 2. We are live. We are here. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Gaming Daily Live. My name is Icy Gaming. It is a beautiful Thursday, April 9th, 2026. The birds are chirping. The trees are starting to blossom. Spring is in the air. Sam Stefanina's birthday is coming up. The man, the myth, the legend. He's also getting married next month. Can we drop that, Sam? That's public knowledge, right? Thank you guys for tuning in. Super excited. We've been a little bit out of the flow this week. I do apologize about that. We didn't have a Monday, Tuesday show. Wednesday, our main premiere interview had to reschedule. But we are back in the pocket. We're going to finish the week strong. When they go low, we go high. When times get tough, you know, we keep rolling with the punches. You can't keep a good wolf down is what they say. So we're coming back with a banger interview. The game that refuses to die. The game that won't stay down. They are undead. I'm super excited for this one. We got Undead Blocks coming on the show. We got the boys, Ken and Kyle, backstage. So this one is going to be interesting. This is going to be interesting because they have been through the ringer, but they are a game that have been here since 2021, 2022, and fighting for their game, their studio, their IP. You are going to want to hear their story. So I'm really excited to bring them on. But before we do that, we got to shout out the sponsors that make this show possible. Big shout out to YGG Play, the Giga Chad Bats themselves. there's more ways to earn YGG Play points. And there's a degen mode exclusively for the Chad Stakers coming very, very soon. I know all you degens are going to absolutely love that one. So if you guys aren't playing Giga Chad Bat, you can tune in to the game night on Gaming Daily tomorrow, hosted by Eve and AE in the chat. We're going to be doing some, running some games, doing some giveaways. Excuse me. That should be a lot of fun. Ghost Cat Joypad in the building. Shout out to you, brother. I saw you on the gaming space today with Matthew Buxton and everybody. But with that said, guys, we got the boys backstage. So give me 30 seconds. I'm going to throw up the away screen, and we will be right back with Undead Blocks.
These are facts.
And what do you plan to do if this whole dream of yours doesn't work
That
out?
doesn't even enter my consciousness.
It's only a matter of time before I'm staring at you from the cover of a Wheaties box. These are facts.
And what do you plan to do if this whole dream of yours doesn't work
That
out?
doesn't even enter.
All right, guys, we are live. Assuming that I didn't miss any of the microphone audio settings, we've got Kyle Gordon and Ken Gamble from Wagyu Games, aka the studio building Undead Blocks. Gentlemen, it's a pleasure to have you on Gaming Daily Live. Welcome, and thank you guys for being here.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you for having us.
Yes,
sir.
Awesome. Yeah, audio looks good. Adrian, Llama, anybody in the chat, let me know if there's any issues. We got 3 different audios kind of pulling in, but I feel like I've muted them and we should be good. Gentlemen, I don't even know where to begin. Kyle, we first met at my award show, which Undead Blocks was nominated for, maybe even won some awards. You were on stage presenting. This was like January 2023. And you guys have been through like quite the story since then. So I think like it'd be a good place to start. Well, I guess like, let me just ask you guys, how are you doing? April 2026, we saw each other last month at GDC. How you guys feeling?
Feeling wonderful. Just finished up a grant structure program with Hedera Hashgraph, and then just finally made it through the actual Helica Avalanche Accelerator that we were out at GDC and PGC for in San Francisco.
And how about you, Ken?
Yeah, we're doing great, man. We're still building in the back end, and got quite the story to tell you. But officially relaunched the game, back in October of last year. So the last few months we've been, gearing back up, doing a lot of stuff on the back end. But yeah, to kind of let everyone know that, we've been here all along. It's just we haven't been really out there, pushing because there's quite a story since, 2023. And we'd love to finally share it with everybody.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you guys coming on the show to share much of that story. Every time I see Kyle at a different event or whatnot, it's I get little pieces and bits and whatnot, and I could just see like the sigh of not relief, but just like the weight of it, come off his chest. I guess like before we get into everything, right? Like for anyone who remembers, Undead Blocks, from the last cycle, but maybe hasn't kept up with it over the past, year or two, what have they missed? Like, where is the game today? You mentioned, the Helica grant program and some of the stuff that you guys got going on. I know the game relaunched. Like, what is the state of Undead Blocks and Wagyu Games as of right now?
Fully live and playable. Go to undeadblocks.com. We just got finished with upgrade to Unity 6.3, which has enhanced the game tremendously. We have a DeFi protocol that's actually coming out this month. It's going to be attached to our token, or ERC20 token, Undead. We have continued to throw 4 or 5 tournaments since October of the relaunch, them being branded and sponsored either by Avalanche or either by Hedera Hashgraph, HBAR. So we just continued to build. Continue to push. We've got a lot of things that's coming up on the traditional side as well. We're in discussions with Xsola. We're in discussions with quite a few other large companies. We were actually approved for digital asset sales on the Amazon store, and we're going to be moving forward with quite a few other things as we push out to mobile.
Yeah, that's awesome. You guys got a lot going on. It's always impressive when I catch up with you guys, because it's like you guys are shipping. You got a lot like happening and moving. I guess, like, how have you been able to I guess weather the storm and to be able to make the investment into the studio, into the game, to keep it alive, to relaunch it? Like, help me try and understand that picture, because I think, you know, probably a lot of people that have seen all of the game closures over the past year, we had like 60 game closures last year, right? So I think it's really remarkable that you guys have been able to weather that storm. And I hope you guys don't mind, like, me, you know, poking a little fun with the thumbnail, like the game that refuses to die. It's kind of, you know, Undead Blocks. Like, we gotta play with the zombie theme. But I think that's going to be a really interesting, I think that'd be really valuable for people in the space to kind of hear, how you guys have been financing things and keeping things afloat.
First started out with putting out dumpster fires. The last team, which you'll learn a lot more about, which the actual company was called Adonis Software. It's out of Ho Chi Minh City in Vietnam. It was an LLC that was set up by two brothers that actually spearheaded this, that actually spearheaded quite a few other projects before getting to this that they had actually rubbed in the past, including one of the largest platforms on Binance Smart Chain, which is actually insane when you start looking into the documentation. A lot of dumpster fires that we had to put out. We had racked up a bill of over $40,000 with AWS and server cost, other things like that we actually first had to tackle. That's one of the biggest things that took the longest amount of time, is negotiations with AWS. Sometimes they're not the easiest in the world to actually negotiate and talk with, showing them that we'd taken this over and that we were trying to rebuild it and getting those costs cut down, see if they would work with us. We actually started working with Google as we acquired a grant with Google and Google Cloud. I think that grant was for $100,000. And that really set us off to take off, because we found a development team that I had known in the space and Ken had known in the space, that had worked with other projects that we'd been a part of, either in the community or either out knowing them at different events like with you, things like that. Got with a dev team. That's out of Costa Rica. James and the team over there started actually migrating everything from AWS, started putting that onto Google. We started rebuilding everything that we possibly could on the back end. And a lot of it was financed personally by ourselves. Every single bit of it, up until we actually started getting the grants, which was one of the grants with Hedera Hashgraph, which we secured last year in September. I think it was. Actually kicked that off in October. I think that's when our first tournament was. And as Ken said, we relaunched the game and got that back all out live. We got a team of veterans, not only in this space in blockchain, but also in the traditional gaming and in just traditional tech. We brought on a new CTO, Delroy Brown, which has been instrumental in moving us forward, finding us people, whether it be game development, Unity developers, website design, whatever it might be. And then I have been a long friend of a gentleman that teaches actual Unity and Unreal Engine in the classroom in Tyler, Texas. He deals with the youth, usually all the way down to the 3rd grade level. But he got us with some very amazing people, just people that would blow your mind, people from Rockstar, people from Smilegate, all across, that has thrown in and really helped us. And we have funded every single bit of it ourselves. We got the one grant from Hedera, and then we did go through the accelerator with Ava Labs, successfully making a small investment into the studio.
That's incredible, man. Yeah, we're definitely going to get into some deeper parts of that story. I guess, let me ask you, how has it been working with Hedera? What does that kind of look like? Because, I mean, does that have any conflict with you guys being on AVAX, or like, what does that kind of partnership look like?
when it first started out, we actually started out first with Hedera. They are a little slow to work with. They are not the easiest to build with. Let's put it that way. We actually had to build our own marketplace because the NFT or the digital asset drop that we actually dropped over there on HBAR, people couldn't see it in their wallet. People couldn't. It was a disaster at first. So we had to build our own marketplace and push that through. And then we did a partnership with Rarible and got those on the Rarible to where people could actually see, interact, trade, sell, buy, all those things like that moving forward. It has been an uphill battle. As many know, Hedera is doing a lot of things in the institutional side. I think that's where their main focus is. When we first come on, I don't know of any game or gaming project that actually was building or working with Hedera. It's not really easy for the consumer to get onto their chain. I don't know if you know yet, but Hashport, their largest bridge, if not their only bridge, is shutting down May 31st. We had some problems with that, with bridging our token over because we moved ASICs over there. We locked over, I think it was 300K in TVL. We done over 500,000 transactions on the blockchain across 4 different tournaments. It was not the easiest in the world. There was no conflict there because we had actually started that, like I said, back in September, end of September, 1st of October. And then we rolled into the accelerator with Helica and Avalanche in November. That was a conversation that we had with Parker, with Wheels, with all them over there, even the legal team, letting them know that we were already in this. We were in the final milestone to finish that up, to make sure there wasn't some kind of conflict. They approved it. They said that they wanted to work with us. They said they didn't care about what HBAR was doing. They didn't care about what we had done in the past with them. They didn't care that we were still working with them. We were selected out of 100 different teams. And was approved to go forward on that Helica and Avalanche accelerator. So we were very proud of that, and that was something that really has pushed us forward as well. I will tell you, we most definitely enjoy working with Avalanche over Hedera.
Yeah, it was quite the task working with Hedera, and at the beginning, to be fair, Avalanche had an exclusivity for 3 months for this accelerator, and we did a lot of negotiating. And I don't know, working with corporate, how slow they are. I mean, it took them a month just to get an NDA before all this happened. But it was a lot of negotiation, a lot of back and forth, a lot of red line and contracts. But they really wanted us, so they approved us and put in the contract. Yeah, we know that you're not exclusive because you're already doing working with HBAR, and we did get that through Thrive Protocol, by the way. That's really the engine behind that grant.
Yeah, with Hedera, we actually our director of business development, everybody knows him as Flu, but his name's James Griffin, actually had lined up us with Thrive Protocol. And actually that was back in the summer of last year, in like June or July. So it took us about 2 to 3 months to even work through those contracts and everything there. As I'm sure that working with some of these companies can most definitely be a little bit slower than usual. So it took a little bit of time, but we knocked both of them out. We actually just finished up the Hedera one, and then of course we finished up the Helica accelerator with Avalanche at GDC.
I want to ask a follow-up question there, but I do got to shout out everyone in the chat. Shout out to Maddox and Peyton. Peyton says, you guys better shout him out for being the best Undead Blocks player. He says, Ken can tell everyone how good Peyton is and how apparently how terrible Jace from Ronin is.
Yeah, there was a bit of a competition, at the PGC. We did have the demo in the game playing, and they both stopped by and had a little competition on our MP5 Massacre, and Peyton rocked it. We'll shout out to Peyton.
Amazing. Yeah, no, I remember when you guys were at, what was it, Rare Evo, the first Rare Evo in Denver, running the game tournaments there were a lot of fun. And even the tournaments that you guys had in 2022, you guys were putting a lot of money and prize pools and creating a lot of excitement around crypto gaming at the time. And I always appreciate you guys for that. Let me just double click into the Helica, the AVAX thing for a second. Like, was that incredibly crucial to you guys, like being able to continue on and go forward, like that support from them? Or was it kind of like you guys were already kind of have motion and stuff going, and that was just a nice to have?
we had motion. It most definitely rolled that ball a lot faster. It accelerated it as it should have. It got us in contact with a lot of great people. It moved, or I guess you would say, skills with working with investors, with publishers, things like that, up to another level. And more at the traditional side, like we got to meet the founders of War of Tanks and all kinds of great games. Got mentorship sessions every single week. It was pretty intensive, sometimes like 2 to 3 days a week. We actually would have meetings that were at least an hour long. Some of the things we already knew since we had been here for so long. I mean, Undead Blocks had first come out in 2021, the Gaming 2022. We were one of the veteran studios. A lot of the other studios that were there was 5 of them total. A lot of them were just getting their game live. Some of them hadn't been building but just possibly a year, if not less. So there was a lot of pros there that accelerated it. Of course, the small investment that Ava Labs put into the studio most definitely got all the dev work done, getting a new collection dropped over there, or token actually migrated over there as well, working with some of the dexes as well, as we pushed out to almost every single Avalanche dex out there. But it most definitely accelerated it.
That's really awesome to hear, because I remember the Helica program and the Ava Labs program. We covered it on Gaming Daily. So it's really great to hear a firsthand experience of, like, you know, them accelerating you guys, saving the studio in some ways, or at least like really pushing things forward in a meaningful way. I guess I want to ask, what was it, in your opinion, that they saw in you guys in Undead Blocks that, you know, you feel like they wanted to make that investment to support you guys? Because it's tough. Like, we love seeing these programs, right? But it's also been a really difficult time for crypto games to get grants, to get investment and things like that. So I'm curious, like, what were those conversations like where they saw the potential and wanted to, you know, support you guys through that?
Just where we were persistent and wouldn't give up. We showed them all of our data, everything from the back end, everything that we had, and we blew them away that we were still here, still building, still biting onto the rope, that we would not let go, and that our game is a global phenomenon. Zombies is something that everybody, well, I can't say everybody, but a very large majority of people love to interact with, whether it's Night of the Living Dead, or whether it's The Walking Dead, whether it's Left 4 Dead. I mean, it just blew them away. And then they knew that we had, still at the time, one of the best games that you could actually really play, that was easy to play, that all you needed was an email, that you could come in, that had multiple game modes. It wasn't just the same thing over and over, that we kept pushing what we had done with Hedera. They analyzed that. Iliad from Helica, of course, I knew Iliad from 2022 when he was with Sanctor Capital. We almost raised funds from Sanctor. But literally, he was like, "You're still here." He was like, "Oh my God." He was like, "I know studios that raised 20 times what you did. We raised 1.7 million in 2021 with Animoca leading." And, you know, at that point in time, that was an okay number, I guess you would say. But there were studios that was raising 15, 20, 25, 11 million. Animoca acquired Phantom Galaxies that completely fell off. You know, there was a lot of money flowing around, and we were one of the studios that actually did exactly what we said we were going to do with the funds that we first got in, and not only dropped the game, dropped the token, but dropped 3 collections that almost netted $10 million in sales in 2022, and brought in GameStop. And they were like, if you guys can continue and you can actually pull this off, they were like, this is the story of blockchain gaming. They were like, there's no story that can top this, that we know of, at least at that time. Because most people, as we see, as articles that just come out here this week about that, a lot of shady things happen here. And usually those people just grab the money and just walk out the door. So that's one thing that we never did. I mean, that's the biggest thing. We fought so hard. Me and KG were the ones that really stepped up. I am the only original founding member from the original team, and we stepped in and said, this shit ain't going to fly.
Yeah,
Like,
I want to start getting into that story, but right before we do, I have to ask. It's funny to hear you say their response was like, "You guys are still here," and I'm smiling about a bit about it because I think that you must have heard that a few different times, and I'm sure on one hand we can like smile about it, but on the other hand, it's like it's bittersweet, right? Because it's like, what do you mean? Like, because you're fighting every single day, tooth and nail, for this studio, for this game, for this passion, for that you've put 5 years of your life into, and I resonate with that because I've been in here, every day trying to add value and support this industry, and it's been painful, right? And it's so painful when studios do shut down or games do shut down, and people either shuffle around or move on. But it's like, I feel like we're like one big, discombobulated, dysfunctional family to a small degree, but like I love that. That's what gets me really excited and passionate, is like building in this space alongside people like Peyton, Sam, you guys, showing up to events from month after month, year after year, because it's like someone is gonna make it. Like you said, it is gonna be like the best story ever, and decades from now, like when crypto gaming is just mainstay, these like war stories, I think are just going to be really awesome parts of that journey and that history. But I guess like how does that hit you, right? Like, is that how you feel, or like what do you feel and think when someone's like, oh, you guys are still here? It's like, on one hand it's a compliment, on the other hand it's kind of a backhanded slap to the face.
Well, I mean, I don't look at it that way. It's, we're still chugging along in the back end, and when we're gonna launch it the way we're gonna launch it, we're gonna keep building regardless of what people say. I don't care if they say, oh, you're still here, oh, it's a rug, that's that game is old. They don't know what we're doing, and until we're ready to really show them, that speaks a lot louder than what we did in the past. And that's why we want to come out with this story, and tell you exactly what we've been doing and what we got coming out. And we've all had to pivot, I mean, this industry is different. We are pivoting, we are going toward more traditional gamers in a way. We're taking out all the Web3 stuff. I mean, we've talked to investors, and the whole gaming world is just, it's still a black eye when you say Web3. It just is. We're revamping our whole entire website and everything that's going to be more, blockchain optional, is how it's going to come across, because we want to bring in the regular gamers, and the remaining people, the small group that remembers us from, back in 2021, that's not the whole group. We're looking at millions of people that have never even heard or seen this game before ever. And we want to make it fun first, and just really get people excited about it with the things we're going to be launching here, in the next few months.
Yeah. I just think of it as if you only knew. That's what goes in my head every single time that I hear that. I don't think of it negatively, positively. It's just like, brother, sister, if you only knew. Like, yeah, we're all family. Men here, I've got a daughter. Ken's got 2 daughters. Every single executive on the team and every single dev actually has family. So the struggles that we've went through, not just financially, but mentally, like, just it's something that a lot of people would never really understand. And I know that a lot of entrepreneurs out here go through that, but to go through it and then try to rebuild the company after you were at one of the highest heights. I mean, when we were with the Mutable X with GameStop and sold out that collection in less than 24 hours, like, I'd say that we were up there in one of the top 5 games, and possibly even higher. I know that we were everywhere that could possibly be. And just to go to the lowest of the lows, and that is, of course, with the bear market and all those things that come in as well that killed everybody, and including our project with token price, all the things like that, NFT, digital asset prices. It's just the first thing that comes through my head. It's just, if only you knew. That's the biggest thing. Thanks.
Yeah, I can appreciate that, man. Let's start getting into that story a little bit, but maybe before we go like one by one through the timeline, can you give me like a 30-second just high level overview of the past few years? Like, you know, just the highlights. This happened, then this happened, then this happened, and this was crazy. And like, what is that timeline of the past 3-4 years since of Undead Blocks?
Good Lord. Launch game, March 2022. Launch collection with our token in May of 2022. Genesis collection, selling that actual collection out. Fans were going so crazy that a gentleman got a tattoo to get an actual free pack. Moved on to our Apocalypse collection with our Undead Staking. That was extremely successful as well. Then moved into dropping a collection with GameStop in December of 2022 that netted over $3 million in less than 24 hours, with the average sale being $11. In 2023, about the time of February or March, we stopped getting paid. I was the director of business development. I was making $7,500 a month salary. Me and Ken stepped up, seeing that there was problems that was persisting. We went to the ex-CEO, which was just actually the face of the company, which was Grant Hasley.
I interviewed him around that time, maybe right before then. So yeah, that's my last, contact there.
He kept denying the allegations, didn't believe allegations. We actually launched an investigation ourselves. Ken knew a gentleman by the name of JP that runs a Metasleuth company, an intelligence on chain company, that we paid out of our pocket to start getting things tracked. Everything that you could think of, not just wallets, but also documentation, other things running back to Vietnam with the LLCs, with the documentation. We even got credit card information of their wives, all kinds of different things, because they were paying for the plans on the company accounts, because I had all the access to the back end. It took us, I don't know, Ken, a year?
Yeah, at least a year. Yeah.
A year to get all of this to where we had everything that we wanted to present with them, and let them know that if they didn't want to work with us about handing everything over, that we were going to the authorities. And not only that we were going to the authorities, but the actual intelligence on chain company was going to help us with that, which had got people prosecuted in the past, not only here in the U.S., but in other countries abroad. It took them about a month to even acknowledge that we were legit, that we had all of this. I don't know if they didn't read it at first, but we actually got Gallon from Gen Block Capital. And Gallon thought that we were crazy at first. And then he looked over the information and he was like, oh, I stepped in shit. And he come out of that meeting and I guess went into a meeting with them and let them know that this is very serious. Where's my token? Because none of the past investors, including Animoca, Gen Block Capital, and PokeStarter, never got any of their tokens that they were signed contracts for. They never got anything. They started moving forward with negotiations with us. It was not quick. We messaged back and forth and talked.
We're getting into it a little bit. I guess it'd be helpful to understand, Kyle, because you guys stopped getting paid, and that forced you guys to start your investigation. I guess what did that investigation? There was a lot that it uncovered apparently, but I want to understand what was the issues there? Was it misallocations of funds and the money dried up, and then how were you guys still working and a part of the studio? I think there was an ousting. I guess let's just dive into that part. This is early 2023, things start to unravel, and you guys start looking into things, and what did you uncover, and how were you able to do that? Was it on your own accord or what? I guess because you're a co-founder, you were able to do it. But I mean, I think it's pretty remarkable that you guys were able to do that and then kind of take back control of the company. So walk me through that.
I used to be an engineer. I know about having access to everything and what it can do for you, especially at a company. So I had access to everything. I had all the admin emails. I had the business email. I had everything because at one point in time when I started barking loud enough, they even tried to fire me. Or come in and say that they were going to fire me. That being said, not only did we stop getting paid, they started in the admin group of all the actual founders started kind of saying that, hey, costs are up, server costs aren't making sense. Like if we don't do this, this, and this, we're going to have to shut down. And I was like, we did almost $10 million in sales in 2022. What do you mean?
Yeah.
That was the thing that made the wheels start kicking. And I had a lot of wallets, okay, that was attached to the founders that I knew that they were doing some things that they probably shouldn't have been. I took all of that information. I got with Ken. We got that over to JP at Intelligence on Chain. He started building a portfolio of all these wallets. One day,
and are you working at the studio at this point?
Yes.
Like...
Yes. Still working at the studio doing this on the back end that they don't know about.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was the community manager at the time too, so I'm handling the whole entire Discord, the Telegram. I was testing the game all in the beta, so I was working with some of the the game designers and testing the game for the new things they were coming out with, and then they just slowly stopped talking. They slowly stopped doing things. Things wouldn't get fixed. Requests wouldn't get answered. People are going, hey, what's going on? Why, nothing's moving forward. This is broken. It's not getting fixed. And, slowly we saw they're trying to walk away from this.
Wow.
No updates. It would take me, I would have to call Grant 17 times. I would have to call Isaac, I would have to get with Michael, I would have to get with Dazon Trung, all these people. Then they started to try to bring in a new management to run, and I knew right then, and it was all in the mist. But yes, I was on the background doing this all behind the curtain.
Yeah,
that they didn't know anything.
What was the, what's the punchline? What can you share about like the ultimate conclusion and punchline? Like, was there fraudulent things happening, and then people got ousted? Are there lawsuits kind of going on? Like, ultimately, what did you end up discovering, and then what did you do?
We discovered that they had rugged 3 projects before, going back all the way to 2017. They actually dropped I forget exactly what the project was, but it did the most amount of volume in 24 hours. Who
was this? The original, people?
Adonis Software, Dazon Trung, and his brother. I forget his name. I'd have to look at it right off.
And those were that was the development studio building Undead Blocks at the time, or were they tied to, what was the direct connection?
There was no Wagyu Games.
Okay.
There was no Wagyu Games entity. All that was a lie. Under Adonis Software, it was set up offshore in Vietnam, and that was it. That was attached. When we first started building this game, we brought in Kevru Games and some of our own developers to build this game. Okay, some of it was outsourced to Kevru Games, which you can see in the game itself where it shouts them out. Now, there was no other entity. They made up Wagyu Games because Grant and them liked the name, but nobody ever went and filed for a LLC or a sole proprietorship or started a corporation or anything. Me and Ken went and started Wagyu Games in October of 2023 in Lexington, Kentucky. Okay. It is our LLC that we own. Me and Ken own majority, and then there's 3 other executives, 5 of us total, and we've just brought on 2 advisors. So there was actually a huge lie there around that, as you can see as you've got it pulled up. They even created the Twitter in January of 2022. That look it up. Look up on directory of companies in the U.S. There was no Wagyu Games LLC or Wagyu Games Incorporated before October of 2023, and we did that kind of out of a funny reason that we'll get into in the future.
Sure.
But
I want to go back. So help me understand, Kyle. Was this largely operation? Like who's responsible, and who are we pointing fingers at? Like was Grant involved in this, and what is Grant's involvement? What can you share in that regard?
Grant was the face of the company. He did not put 2 and 2 together until we actually, I guess, made the light bulb go off in his head. And he's seen some of the reports, and I sent him some of the wallets that had been scraping money out of the NFT sales, the digital asset sales. And you're not talking a little, you're talking hundreds of thousands. We'd seen where one wallet had pulled out over $600,000.
Wow.
And they were saying that this money was pretty much gone, or they didn't have any money to continue the studio. And even at server cost, which I think was right around $10,000 a month with AWS.
And
which
this is Adonis. This is the development studio out of Vietnam that was scraping and essentially embezzling money.
That was just one aspect. There was also some other people involved that we, I got, JP to really do a deep dive, and we got 3 reports. One was all the tracking of all the wallets. I mean, every wallet through, you get into this Metasleuth stuff, and he can connect everything, and he showed us exactly where all the money was, and some of it went through exchanges, others were in private wallets. So we had all of that documented. Here's where the money sits right now at this minute. Then he did another report where he did a deep dive on all the people responsible, found out where they lived, found out their background, found out what they've done, houses that, you name it. We did a deep dive like you wouldn't believe. And we had 3 reports on this, then all of their past behavior and all the deep dive into the different, different tokens and different things they rugged in the past. And we saw, they had a pattern, they would go and they would make this product, they would hype it, it would have some utility, they would get a lot of people to do it, they'd launch a token, and then as soon as it hit the exchange, they rugged it and left. And they did this 3-4 times, and they were going to do that with Undead Blocks. The problem was, right as they launched the token, the bear hit big time, and it ruined their plans. And so instead of them just taking the token, dumping it, and walking, they just kind of faded away and said, well, we'll just keep the money we made off of it and just kind of walk away. And we had all those reports.
And this got bigger than they ever thought it would. We had 3.
Again, sorry, Kyle, I just want to be clear. We're largely right now talking about Adonis Software, this development studio that was a part of this, who has this track record. Correct. I want to be clear. Like, I don't know if any other investors or any other like executive members, of that who are on a part of it or part of the team. Like, I want to get very clear in my understanding.
Yeah, well, there was the actors involved, and then we brought, finally, when they saw some of the stuff that we were digging up, they knew we were serious, and so they came to the negotiation table, and that's when we said, hey, look, what we want is the whole game. We won't want this game to die. We see the vision. The vision's there. Yeah. The popularity's there. We want to take this over. And so we basically negotiated a long time going over. We just wanted the game assets. Yeah. We weren't demanding all the money to be sent back. We wanted the game assets. That's what we wanted. The IP, all the token, all the NFT collections. We got it all eventually.
Yeah. Okay. So this is from Adonis. And you brought this to Grant. I guess I also wanted to just get an understanding. What was Grant aware of or not aware of? What was his involvement? He's not with the studio anymore. So what's the story there?
He let me know that Isaac Nakash, which was one of the masterminds behind this, which had set up projects with the company from Vietnam. Vietnam was solely the money people because they knew Animoca. They knew quite a few other people in the space that could get a lot of things done. And also Vietnam doesn't extradite. They don't work with the U.S., other things. So they thought that they were safe. As again, they had a banker friend because Grant was heavily involved in banking. He did work at Goldman Sachs. He did have a lot of accolades. Our community got him fired, which is actually pretty insane. But that going forward, Grant.
Was he working? Wait, hold on. Was he working at a bank while he's working at Undead Blocks, or did he get a job afterwards and then the community went?
No,
he was a figurehead. That's all he was. He was the talking head of the game.
Okay.
He was getting paid, and they even stopped paying him bonuses. He was getting bonuses of $50,000. Don't know the timeline. Don't know anything like that but supposedly he was getting bonuses of $50,000. Okay, I'm sure that he didn't want to mess that up, so he kept his mouth shut for a long time, I believe. He finally come out to me because I probably had the best relationship with Grant. Literally, we hung out multiple times together. I've been up to his house. He's been to my house, all kinds of stuff. Finally come out to me of the whole scheme of Isaac Nakash and Tristan, the founder of Mavia. Tristan, I forget his last name, but I can get you all that information. We have it all documented. They had a long list of being scammers, and they even had people that was calling them out on TikTok, on Instagram. There was even some people that I think that took legal litigation, other things like that. He had got with a banker friend of his named Anthony Vo. That is still a banker. That is an investment banker that works out of Philadelphia. I'm sure Anthony will like this. They got together to come up with this scheme to build one of the largest blockchain games and then extract money from it. They took this, I guess you would say, idea or proposal back to their funding buddies in Vietnam. Daison Trung is really the head. His brother's there. You've got the information of the LLC that I sent you just now on Telegram. Mm-hmm. Okay, those two are brothers. Now, Daison Trung was the main face and was the one, but nobody, I don't know anybody that's ever met him in person. But we found out that he already was a millionaire in Vietnam, that he owns 2 sweatshops there as well. So he has funding behind him, and they had collaborated together to do this project. And then they went out and raised additional money from the Vietnam side. Because every single contract that we have, and we have all the contracts with Animoca, with Jim Block, from all the investors, all that, it's all signed from the Vietnam LLC that I just sent you the documentation for. I have hundreds of pages of documentation, and then on course of the 3 reports that we have from JP, from Intelligence on Chain. But Grant knew about it, but I don't think that nobody expected this to blow up like it was supposed to.
Yeah.
Like in 2022, I don't know many companies in the gaming space that could have competed with us. Maybe Illuvium, maybe what was the one, Guilds of Guardian or whatever it was, the IMAX drop.
Sandbox was going at that point.
I mean, you had a handful, that had people. We grew insanely. We had a Discord of 25,000, if not higher than that. We went to numbers that I think that they were like, well, maybe we can make this bigger and make more money. I don't really know what was going through their head, but I know Grant knew some about it. And I know that the idea that they started off with was very, very negative. Mm-hmm. It was immediately negative from the start.
Yeah.
Now, how involved all that went, we can give the reports and go. But when we tracked Grant's wallets, we did not see any large amounts coming from the actual LLC or Daison Trung or Isaac or any of them.
Who is Isaac, real quick? I'm sorry, we said his name earlier.
Ash was the product officer, or oh, good Lord. Yeah, I think he was. What the hell was he? He was
on the original website though as one of the team members.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
He was a gentleman that could get a lot of stuff done. He lives in Miami still. I still have his address, which we will be putting out public and things like that going into the report and stuff, because going into the lawsuit, as you're talking about, us as studio, as me and Ken, cannot sue Adonis Software. We gave them that amenity when we signed a contract, and they handed all assets to us but past revenue. They run off with the NFT sales and the digital asset sales. We got the token, we got everything from the game, all the back end, all the user accounts, all the websites, all the social medias, everything.
The most important thing is they didn't transfer the agreements they had with their investors, which is key point.
Yep. They never involved the investors at all, and we didn't take on any of that load from the past actual company.
Okay.
So it made us clear. We made that very clear.
And when did this happen?
2023.
April. No, well, I think it all finally got finalized April of 2024.
Okay, so about 2 years ago. Wow, we're in 2026. 2 years ago. Wow, that's crazy. Okay, so just to recap at a high level, you guys were working on this game. Ken, you were a community manager. Kyle, you were director of business development, and you guys stopped getting paid early 2023. February, March. something's not right. You start digging into things in the background while you're still working there, probably trying to get paid. And you find all of this stuff. You go on this long kind of journey to accumulate all of this evidence and documentation. Things are probably falling apart. You bring it to them. At first, they don't acknowledge it. Finally, they do. Kind of go through this process of, hey, we guys got this information and we want, we're going to pursue it. We just want talk to me through that. You guys like fought for this game. You wanted the IP, you wanted to keep building it. So you rip it from, this shady, extractive, allegedly, I don't know, allegedly, don't sue me, bro. Game studio that you guys, that was part of the, foundation or, origins of Undead Blocks. I guess take me to that, right? Like why you guys get all this information, you bring it to them, and then you guys decide like, no, we want the game. We want to keep going forward. How do you guys navigate that and argue that and kick them out? Like what was even the motivation there? I mean, it's really commendable that you guys fought for this company, this game, this community, and took it over. I mean, like walk me through that.
It was something that I felt that I had to fight for. I had turned down multiple jobs. I had a pretty big job that I turned down by Binance Smart Chain. I was getting well known in the industry. I was locking in some of the biggest contracts, including with GameStop and Immutable X. I was the gentleman that brought a lot of things to the table for us. I had been in blockchain since 2014, so I had a lot of connections already. So for me, it was about that, and in the community, I had made so many connections. We had live events that people from our community had come out. I'd met these people. I'd seen how fucking passionate they are. Excuse my language, but these people, I mean, there was literally people getting tattoos. There was people it was insane. It was like we were Ozzy Osbourne rock stars, man. It was insane. And I've seen what this company had potential to do. I knew the potential of blockchain. I do think that we still are early on blockchain gaming, but hey, we're glad with being early. I'd rather be early than late. That being said, it was something that I felt in my heart. I talked to my wife. I prayed on it. There's a lot of things that I went through because you're right. We could have just walked away from this. We could have just been like, man, this is going to be a battle that I don't want to fight. David versus Goliath kind of, because at first it was because they had a lot of team. They had brought in a new management that they had tried to fix things because they were having problems with gate and all kinds of things like that. And we knew that it was not going to be an easy battle. We knew this. We knew that it was going to take a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of tears, a lot of smiling and laughing as well.
A lot of our own money, believe me. And they originally brought on their own management team. It was kind of a third party that they wanted to hand it off to for the negotiations. Yep. Then they kind of tried to say, okay, hey, maybe we'll restart it. Maybe we'll, this new management team will take over and run the game. We're like, no, that ain't going to work. We want it, or this stuff is coming out. So they tried different tactics to, persuade us not to, take it all over. Eventually they gave in. I mean, it took, like I said, months and months of going back and forth with these teams until they finally said, it's yours. We want nothing to do with it anymore. Here it all is, game assets. And we're talking, they had stuff, treasure trove of things that have never been released, but that were designed. So we've got a treasure trove of stuff. We really did.
Over a whole terabyte with a new map and all kinds of stuff. Over 140 new weapons. Just designs that nobody has ever seen that will be coming out live. But it's insane. But as Ken said, yes, they tried to bring in a new management team that thought that they were going to run the show. I had to bring out the country boy. It got hostile.
Yeah,
it got hostile.
Do you have an example of that? Like, what do you mean? Is it like, are you in the boardroom be like, no, or like what?
Get on calls and really just laying into their ass. I mean, just saying this is not right. This is not, you guys are a bunch of criminals, and we flat said it to them. You guys are walking around with all the money.
they thought it was going to be a cordial process where we would almost kiss their butt and thank them.
Mhm.
You know, it was not.
They
I,
felt-
I let a side out of me that most people's never seen. I'll put it that way. And I got pretty heated, pretty mad. And I let them know exactly what was going to happen and that they spend the rest of their life in prison, or either I'd spend the rest of my life trying to make sure that they did.
Wow.
I have some pretty high connections here in the U.S. We have some pretty high connections across the globe now, including with JP and Intelligence on Chain and some other companies that was going to help to pursue that.
Yeah, it got real when they saw that we had a contact at the FBI and Interpol that was legit, and one of the investors, Gallon, that he mentioned, saw that and took a big old, he was scared, and he cut off all conversation with us immediately.
Yeah, he was on the cybersecurity and blockchain fraudulent team.
Wow.
And one other thing that we found out, this is all meshed with Mafia.
Yep.
They were
Well,
sending
I
us.
want to get to that in a second because that seems like another
That's a
thread.
whole other thing we never opened.
So
It might be video too.
So again, I just want to understand the timelines here. This all kind of wrapped up April 2024. A lot of these heavy negotiations where you're bringing out the country boy. Shout out to Jerry Fresco in the chat. He liked that one. When was that kind of happening? Like things were presented, I guess fall of 2023. So like, was it January, February, April, March, April, kind of like you guys are battling with this studio, wrestling the game back from them, and you present this information and they're like, okay, let's just get out of this.
Send it all to them. We just gave them report number 1 and just told them we've got a lot more, and we'd give them bits and pieces of what we had, but we didn't release all our evidence.
Yeah.
And that really brought them to the table big time. And
Okay.
Yeah, they knew that we were extremely serious, and then when we started letting them know the people like their wives that was on the credit cards that was paying for it, and where they owned houses in Philadelphia and things like that, they were like, "Holy crap!
Yeah.
These guys got us."
Yeah.
these two aren't two crypto guys that freaking are just trying to put some fake pressure on us. No, these guys are legit.
Okay.
We're not youngsters, dude. I'm in my 50s. You think I don't have real world experience in some of this stuff? I've owned companies. So yeah,
Okay.
we were playing around.
So you guys wrestle back the studio under the threat of, exposing and, FBI and further litigation and everything. This is April 2024. What happens then? Like that they sign the paperwork over, they walk away from it. You guys get the game studio back. Like, what?
It was a freaking mess when we
Yeah.
got it. Got our dev team, like you mentioned, and some guys involved. It took its time to build a team.
Yeah.
After hey, we got all this stuff. Now what do we do? Yeah, right.
Yeah.
We built a team up as we mentioned earlier, and once they started looking at the back end, it was like, oh my gosh, it was taped together with glue and freaking duct tape, and you could tell that it wasn't built the way a game should be built in the back end. So we knew we had a lot of work ahead of us. Like you mentioned, then we got a hold of the AWS servers. We figured out why the multiplayer wasn't working, because they only had the US on, and they didn't have any of the other country servers on. We were wondering back in the day why there was so much lag. Well, that's because they didn't pay for those damn servers. So and all that stuff, it was just a big ball of mess that we said, oh man, we got our work cut out for us.
Yeah. And we started working right as fast as we could with AWS, with MongoDB, with who the hell else? There's like 3 other companies that they ran up bills. Now AWS is most definitely the highest one. It was right at about $40,000.
Yeah.
And just started getting all that together, started making connections with those old teams that we were working with as continuing to move forward. And just we brought on community manager Tom Burkhart. He has worked in the space for quite a while with some other good, very large projects and then some smaller ones. Ken knew him personally. I knew who he'd worked with and a few other people that were legit. He actually knows one of the directors at Google Cloud, and he pulled some strings and really come through for us and got us a grant with Google. And then we started migrating like in the summer of 24, wasn't it, Ken, or just a hair after?
Yeah, it was right about that time, but but as soon as they we get this deal with Google, we're ready to do the migration. We've got the team ready. AWS suspended the account.
Yep.
So now we're like, oh my gosh, they want their money. They want $30,000, or they're not going to release the game data. So here we are having to struggle for months to get them to explain what happened. We took over this game. That bill is theirs, not ours, and just release it. We want to migrate and leave AWS because now here we are with this grant, for $100K from freaking Google Cloud. And right as we're getting ready to do an easy migration, that happens. So in the meantime, our new team is sitting there rebuilding everything. Just all right. We're just going to go from scratch. We're going to rebuild everything. We've got the game. Yeah. We got the everything we need to rebuild it. But that process is not easy.
Yeah. How are you guys funding this at this time? Because, I mean, this is 2024. I mean, we're 2026 now. Like, has the game been making money? You guys been coming purely out of your own pockets? Did you bring on other investors?
What? Our own pocket deals we made with the dev team that, hey, you're going to be part of this. We're going to build it up. Basically they came on and there was a lot of free work, a lot of donations, a lot of our own money that came in to get this done on a shoelace budget, and so that's why it's taken so long. It's not like we have a team of 20 that are sitting here just pounding out stuff, it's a small team at that point. So, and then the whole migration, you can't sit there and put all the resources into building more stuff in the game when you're trying just to get it on servers to run it correctly. So
we sold everything. I sold all my Bitcoin. I sold everything, put it back into the studio.
Yep, I did well, back in the day, and then took some meme coins and ran it up, so real high, but all that, it all went into the game. We just put it all in there, and we made deals with our wives and said, hey, this is what we want to do, and they backed us and said, let's go. So here we are.
Yeah, shout out to the women of Wagyu.
Yes, sir.
Just literally for that, 100%.
The unsung heroes, absolutely. I love women of Wagyu. I love that.
100%
This absolutely insane. I guess, is there any other fallout from that whole saga? I mean, Kyle, you mentioned kind of like putting together a report and like publishing something, or like, where are things at now? Is it all behind you guys and you're all good? I don't know if this is going to lead into the Mavia story, but kind of like, I mean, a lot of this stuff is deep in the past now, or are there still things that are like, remnants of that?
It was in the past until just recently, because they tried to still hold the Gate.io account, which had very small liquidity in it. I think there was 10 million undead tokens. We knew that we were going to get delisted. They had no market makers. They were not paying for anything. Recently, we just got delisted from Gate last week. Reached out to Gate. Gate wants us to start our own, do our own KYB, KYC, set up an account and everything. We're not doing that. We're just getting them to transfer those undead tokens to our actual company account. If you back up, Isaac Nakash was the one that paid $250,000 out of the actual company to actually get that listing, so it doesn't hurt us as a company going forward. And also they were manipulating the price very heavily over there. Gate's kind of known for that. That being said, we actually had not heard anything from the Horned Demon for, I don't know, a while. Then his face had to pop back up, and I actually just had to reach back out to Daeson Trung, and I had to let him know what information I still have, because he acted like he was going to get an attitude with me, and I let him know that I'm still the same country boy that he talked to a couple years ago, so he can pipe himself back down, and he can do what he's supposed to do, which they are right now. They're taking care of that, but that's the actual only thing that we've heard from them in a long time. Grant, heard from Grant not too long ago. He reached out. Ironically, he started an investment company of himself, which I question a lot of things that are going on there, but I do wish him the best in all his future endeavors. But we talked to two developers. One of them was Lucky, that did a lot of the actual graphics and such things like that. And then Duck. Duck was the back end engineer that done a lot of stuff. They support the hell out of us. Like, they didn't know what was going on. And they got rolled into the whole shitstorm, I guess you would say. But they're the ones that even gave us extra information that we didn't even know that was out there, that were like, hey, we was working on this. Here's all the files. Hey, we were doing this. Here's all this. We try to keep in contact with them. And then Zomballs. Zomballs was one of the main testers, one of the, I guess you would say, lower level developers of the game as well. He is right there with us any way that he can help. We talk to him, Ken, once a month?
Yeah.
Like that. So there's still a few that we do talk to that we know is clear that didn't get paid. Those 3 people that I just talked about actually were like us and didn't get paid. I think even Zomballs actually was owed more money than me, that they'd quit paying him before they did me. So we still have contact with a few of them, but they're the ones that we know were neutral, that were kind of like dumbfounded, that didn't even know a lot of this was going on.
Yeah.
They lost their jobs and was just, they're trying to put food on the table.
Yeah.
So other than that, we have not talked to them in quite a while. I had to make a phone call to Isaac Nakash the other day. He did not pick up, but he's going to be calling me back with the message that I sent him today.
Okay. So
But from our perspective, to answer your question, we're done with that chapter with them. I mean, they turned everything over. We're sticking to our agreement. We're not going to sue them. It's, if other people want to do it, fine. But we are going to tell the story about it. We may not release all the the dirt, and all that to people, because that's that was part of the deal. So we're not going to we indemnified them from any future stuff as far as Wagyu games.
Got it. What's the and I appreciate all that, and this is such a crazy story, and I'm glad that we were able to have some space to share it, because I think the way that you guys have fought for the game in the studio is just absolutely remarkable and so commendable. And I can't even imagine what you guys had to go through for that. And this is not meant to be like a witch hunt or a gossip hour, but I do think that we've seen so much, borderline fraud, extractive behavior, so many grifters and scammers and whatnot in the space blatantly. We've also seen good people just not make it. Gaming is really hard. Crypto is really hard. Nope. The cycles don't go the way that, we thought they were going to go. So, there's a whole spectrum of good and bad. And I think that we've seen every single vector. But I do want to hear more about how this connects to Mavia, what the story is there. And maybe just, is it the case that one of the people that you found, connected to maybe the shadier things is now involved with Mavia? Help me understand this.
The main founder of Mavia, Tristan, is best friends with Isaac Nakash. They have run multiple rugs. I'll get you some information for a gentleman for you to talk to that used to work for Binance that called them out in 2019 or 2020, I think it was. They took some of the funds from some of those things and built Mavia. The credit cards that was on the same account for Undead Blocks was the same credit cards that was on for Mavia.
Oh, wow.
They used a system account for Gate.io that they launched Mavia token.
And this is the Heroes of Mavia, Clash of
Heroes of Mavia.
Yeah.
Wow. We found this out kind of by mistake. They would send us emails when we were corresponding, and it would be from Mavia.com.
Yep.
And we're like, what?
It was their mistake. It was 100% their mistake. We was getting everything turned over, getting all the accounts, had to transfer it from their wives' credit cards to our company credit card, all these things that we were getting taken care of. And they started sending us emails with damn Mavia.com on it and documents that had been blanked out. That was the same document that was with Mavia.
Wow.
And we got a hold of the back end of Google and seen that Tristan had an account, and it was even on our side, but we know exactly who he was and exactly what was going on. But we have a whole documentation that we'll be going into a little bit more, but that whole story kind of is cussed out as well because it spans over about 4 years.
Yeah.
most definitely the same team that at least come up with the idea and funded some of Mafia. And we believe that they are still all involved and that they continue to extract on their community. And I have documentation to show that as well, where they're extracting from their Mafia token.
Yeah, but we're not going to pursue that. That's, that's really not something to work on, and it just doesn't affect us really.
Yeah.
It's that we're not going to pursue, but we most definitely are not afraid to talk about it when asked, because we want people to know the truth. Now, I know that Isaac and Tristan wanted to have a conversation with me. It's been a while. It's been back in 2024, because this is where it all went through. Now, I think that they wanted to try to mask or either possibly give me some money or something like that to keep all of this quiet. Because when they figured out that they made those mistakes of sending those emails and all that stuff, they tried to backtrack that, no, we're not involved with Mafia. No, none of this. When we have proof that they do. So, not like Ken said, not pushing the envelope there. Just want to get that out there, because we're always been hardworking, honest people, and just really want people to know the truth. After they know the truth, that they still want to get involved, whatever they want to do, that's on them. But I think everybody should have the truth, and then they can diverge how they want to after that. They can kind of make their decision there. But you don't want to get into that whole story unless you got 2 more hours, because it goes all the way back. And there's some crazy documents that we got from that, and some crazy stuff that they were trying to do to extract from their community, coming up with crazy ideas, stuff like that.
But hey, I mean, looking at Mafia, they've kept it going. They built on it. I mean, it's not like it's a rug. So there's no reason for us to bad name them. If they turned the page, they saw something that worked, and they're doing it legit. We don't know, and we're not going to sit there and say that they are. So it's. Hats off to them. They're still in the space,
Yeah, 100% on that. I think that they pulled up their pants and combed their hair and started acting a little better, because they seen, I guess, what could happen if they made another mistake. Not real sure, but hats off to them, because they are still here. Their game still has updates. You can literally still play it. You can go in their stores, but just to know that they were involved at the beginning is like, holy moly, these people had their hands in everything.
Yeah, that is, cause for concern and to take a pause. And I've never worked with them. I don't know too much about the story. I kind of covered it from a news perspective when the token went well. And, Jerry was in the chat earlier saying, I remember these episodes of Gamified where, there was a topic of discussion, right? And Jerry was taking the stance that a lot of the data was fake, or, this or that, which he, I'm quoting him from the chat here.
That's probably true, because Isaac built an AI company right as they was launching Mafia that was Doppel.ai that failed. But that was exactly what they were doing. They were actually putting in fake members, fake bots into Discord, into actual servers, things like that.
Before it became, standard procedure these days.
Yeah. And I mean, that kind of like, obviously we saw that token just go bananas, and, it's obviously, I haven't checked lately, but I think it got as high as like $10, and I think it's well under $1 at this point. Don't quote me on that. But I kind of raised an eyebrow, because I got contacted because their new kind of platform that they launched, like Nexira or something like that. Someone reached out, and I was like, I wasn't really too interested in taking on any partnerships like that. It didn't feel right. Didn't pass, the smell test for me at least. But I didn't really know too much about the platform, and but it was like, it just kind of, these things kind of happen, at least on my end, where like you see people kind of move on to new projects, and it's like, well, wait, why are you launching a new thing and a new token? I don't understand. So I much prefer to talk to the guys that are like, have this vision for this game and have been working on it for 4 years and still in that fight and whatnot. So yeah, it seems like there's a lot behind that story. Guys, I want to talk about the game. I want to talk about Undead Blocks and the future. The past has been crazy. And again, nothing but love and admiration for you guys for fighting as hard as you did and putting everything on the line. I mean, it's really shocking. I don't know. I wish I knew more about it while you guys were going through it, but it's also it's tough, right? Where are you guys at now? I know Berna just kind of reviewed the game, was given a lot of feedback. You know, we're still on the same map, but Kyle, I think you said there's new maps coming. There's, new other game modes that you're seeing. Kind of what is the next 6, 12, 24 months for Wagyu Games and Undead Blocks look like?
We are working on a lot of things here. And yes, the map is still the same with some variation changes as we've added some things to the map to split it up, made all the houses fully accessible, put all the guns back into the houses, added some ammo boxes, other things like that. We just upgraded to Unity 6.3, which was huge for us. There was a lot of bugs. There probably still are a few bugs. I think Burma actually found one with the slow zombie where he said that the game glitched out. It's not that it glitched out. We have one slow zombie that takes forever to come out. That is something that we have been diligently working on heavily. We thought we had it fixed. Of course, we launched out the new launcher or the new build on the new launcher, and he plays it, and it comes up for him. Of course, it happened.
Of course, it does.
Yes, that's the biggest thing. As I said, we have over 100 new weapons with, good Lord, I don't know how many skin designs, other alterations, things like that that's going to be coming out. We do have a new map that's being worked on. It is slow because we still are a small team. We are self-funded ourselves. It's not, we don't have one of these $101 million raises like Gunful Games. But we have a lot of things that is coming. Our biggest thing that we're launching next is our Pivot Protocol, which is our DeFi protocol, which lets you get your yield and your choice. If you go and buy an Undead token and lock it up in Pivot, you can get your yield in Bitcoin. You can get your yield in Ethereum. You can get your yield in USDC. You can even get your yield in synthetic gold and silver, which I am working on with SD Bullion to get physical delivered to your door. If you know anything about gold and silver, especially physical in your hand, then this is a revolutionary DeFi platform that nobody's ever built before. We have been testing it as founders with a gentleman that we have been working with for over 2 years. Douglas Eclair is his name. He is very transparent. He posts on Twitter almost every single day, or X, excuse me. That is one of the biggest things that is coming out this month. We just got approved for sales onto the AWS marketplace. That's something that we're going to be pursuing. We're also in discussions with Xola. Xola is wanting us to come onto their platform. They're wanting us to do a lot of things with them. They're marketing, also assets, all kinds of things there. We have all of that ready. It's just something where we're trying to make sure that all of our ducks are in a line before we start knocking them down, especially with somebody like Xola, because they're a major player, if not one of the biggest players in actual gaming right now. We just brought on Aaron Thibault, which actually was the gentleman that grew Gearbox Gaming from 60 employees to 2,000 employees. He come in 2006. He was one of the main guys that worked on Borderlands. He also sold the company not once but twice. Once for over $350 million. The founders brought him back in. He sold it again for over $450 million.
The good old Dave Portnoy.
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much. That being said, he's one of the most influential people in gaming as a whole. He has worked with people from Overwolf to Smilegate to, good Lord, he's the director of gaming and esports at Texas A&M University. I did not know this, but Texas A&M actually just won the esports championship here a couple of years ago. They're going back after that. He is getting us with a lot of his team, as he has a classroom of over 100 students that actually build in Unity, Unreal Engine, and all kinds of other different software pertaining towards gaming and entertainment. We are working heavily on our 501c3, which brings the youth in through blockchain gaming with education. As I know that we've talked about in the past, we are still pursuing that. We're still pushing forward. We have some events that's coming forward. I'm actually in discussions to see if AVAX would actually like to sponsor one of those for kids to come out, learn, actually have a very large event. We are pushing to mobile. It is slow, but again, we think that we can actually accomplish that, if not by the end of this quarter, the first of next quarter. We are wanting to push out on Steam, but we don't think it's the right time. We are rebuilding the website, as Ken talked about earlier. We have undeadblocks.com, we have wagyu.io, and we have wagyugames.com. So we are kind of combining all three of those, I guess you would say, to make their experience better, more frictionless, and to make it more of a masking of all the blockchain. Like, it's still there. If you want to get involved, that's completely on you, but we're going to completely mask it because we know that a lot of people on such platforms like Steam and others will just completely give negative
yeah.
If we have one of the best games that you can actually go out there and play, they just love to hate on blockchain games. Almost everybody, you say that immediately, they're like, well, you're a scammer.
Yep.
We're pushing that forward. That's one of our highest priorities. Invo Technologies. This is a revolutionary company that has the U.S. patent for monetization of player churn. There's no other company in the world that has it. We're in discussions with some of the largest companies in the world, like Overwolf, Xsola, Passion Pictures, which is a direct competitor to Netflix. We are in discussions with them moving forward with technology to where players, users, consumers can actually be monetized and use that to move their monetization not only from game to game. So think if you were playing Call of Duty and you could actually get paid and sell your assets in real currency and then transfer it to Undead Blocks, or transfer it to what's the poker game that you're playing?
I've been playing Heroes of Hold'em, but yeah.
There you go. The Heroes of Hold'em. It's a technology that is not confined by blockchain or traditional gaming. It is even getting put into the actual entertainment space to where it can deal with movies, other things like that. We will be the first blockchain game that is integrating this. This is a company that our CTO has, he started in 2011. Delroy has worked for some pretty amazing people, including Disney, Pixar's. He worked on The Mandalorian. He is a man of many talents that you'll get to meet in the future. But that being said, we have technology that nobody else in the world has, that people like AWS, EA Sports, Saudi Arabia as a country is involved in it, that are wanting to get involved in it. They're actually trying to purchase it. We have that technology that's actually, I think, third on our list, Ken. We've got two things, and then it's third. So we're going to be having that implemented. The team over there at AVAX has actually tested this out as this is functional. You can talk to
ask Wills a little bit more about it. Wills is quite, he's going to be actually working with us on that as well.
Wills is going to be working with us going forward on that. Parker has actually demoed the platform as well and had a smile bigger than I can actually smile. We have been in discussions with Tron. We have been in discussions with what in the hell is the other blockchain that we talked to that was talking about wanting the technology? I can't even remember, but AVAX.
There's only 200 blockchains. I mean, you should be able to remember them all, Kyle.
Yeah, exactly. And most of them are all ghost dead chains that possibly raise $500 million but have nothing to do with it. That being said,
go ahead. I'll let you finish.
We've got new technology that's coming out there that's going to give a whole new avenue. We do have something that we're working on to try to give a campaign mode. I think this is something that blockchain gaming is lacking, and also just traditional gaming is an amazing game that has a new campaign mode.
Yeah.
We also are into a little bit of development for the second game. As everybody knows, this is a whole trilogy. If not, the whole trilogy of Undead Blocks will be 3 games. We will drop 3 games. The next game is something that we think is going to be very interesting because no other game like it has been built in the space, especially with the multiplayer activity that it's going to have. Just put it that way.
Then the short term, that's the big picture. We got a lot of things to fix in the current game. We brought the green Z-Bucks back. So
Yep.
people that have VIP access through the Genesis and Apocalypse can go in there and earn the green Z-Bucks. We're working on the loot coffins. That's going to be fixed. So then people can use that to get loot coffins. We've got a whole new monetization plan that we've been working with Aaron Thibault and some of the things that he's going to put in there. Battle passes are coming with different tiers from free to premium to prestige. I mean, there's a lot of things that we're going to be doing in the short term to the current game that'll all uncover with the rest of the things on the big side that Kyle was mentioning.
Yeah, there's a lot there. But you guys, I mean, I wouldn't put it past you guys, So that's really cool. I guess what is the ultimate vision for Undead Blocks, right? You've got the DeFi protocol, you've got the game, the trilogy of the games. What is that North Star? What is that 5 years from now? The thing that motivates you guys to build towards to have? Is it this game is a success and millions of people are playing it, and you guys the studio is making money, and you guys prove out blockchain gaming, and it's we're a game studio and we had a hit and now it's on to our another hit? Is it, I don't know, what does that kind of look like for you guys? What is that dream vision, assuming everything were to play out the way that you want it to?
We want to be a studio to be remembered. 5 years, we want to have all of our games on console. We want to be at the height of the market. We also want to show people that blockchain gaming can work, that lots of people have tried, lots of people have failed, and we're one of the studios that actually pulled out and were successful. We have monetization strategies that we're building that nobody's brought to this space yet, with some of the largest companies that's wanting to back those. Xsola is one of them. We want to show the world that it is possible to build your dream company. I've always wanted to build games. That's how I got into engineering, was design. That's what I specialized in, was SolidWorks, Blender, other things like that. Moving forward with CAD CAM design, got into manufacturing, but unfortunately my passion was always weapons and games, the first person shooters, other things that get you involved and actually make the hair on the back of your neck stand up. Now we have the opportunity. Now we have one good runway. So we're going to try to kick down every single door and continue to push as hard as we can. The biggest goal is to get out there to a massive amount to where we can have 1 million daily active players.
Yeah, and we want and we want blockchain to work. It's not just blockchain; it's just asset ownership. And to bring in to really integrate it between traditional games. It doesn't have to be Web3 gaming. We're not going to have anything on our site that says Web3 anything. It's gaming, and it's all about digital assets and being able to move them and own that. And even if through Invo Tech, this is really going to revolutionize it to where you can earn in one game. Say, I'm tired of playing it. I want to move my stuff over to GTA, and the stuff I put sweat equity into, I can actually use it somewhere else and to a new game, and have that become the norm. And that's where I see us going. I see us taking that gaming to the next level. I love Sinjin. He's the dude's amazing at Meiji. He's got that same vision.
Yeah.
He wants to see it work, and he's just like us. I don't care if it takes us 5 years to get there. We're going to get there one way or another. That's the big vision, is changing the way gaming is.
Yep.
Beautifully said. Oh, go ahead, Kyle.
We're just as much as a tech studio as a gaming studio. So as Keith said, we believe that the tech of blockchain will succeed, and it will take gaming to a new level. I don't know what it'll be called. I don't think it'll be called Web3. I think it'll just be called gaming.
Yep.
In time. But it's all tech. Exaltech, blockchain tech, everything from the blockchain, Exaltech that can be immersed.
I mean,
that can make
the first
anything.
video games were technology, right? Pong, like it's like what?
One aspect of the company is also education. We are so strong on using gaming for education and getting kids rewarded for learning stuff, and being able to move that stuff. What they learn, they compete in something. And I want to order a pizza with the stuff I earned in this game,
Yep.
and I hit. We want to take it to another level where we're creating curriculum based around it. So we've got some really big goals that we don't even talk about because it just seems so far off, but it's really not. What we're building the base of right now is going to lead to that eventually.
I mean, I love that, right? Like, people say dream big and, like, why not go after the most ambitious thing that you could possibly think of? Look at what Elon has accomplished. One single person. I mean, obviously, these thousands and thousands of employees across, his various companies. But to think that, one CEO has built, electric cars, revamped, reinvented what it means to be an electric car and, made reusable rockets and, can buy Twitter and now he wants to go put, manufacturing facilities on the moon and building robots. I mean, it's just insane. So like, yeah, dream big and go after it. What else is there? So I really love that. I also can respect what you said. There was a tweet the other day that was like, it was kind of like, lamenting Web3 gaming, but it was like, Web3 gaming went wrong because it prioritized, earning and play to earn this idea when really it should have just like been transferable ownership, which is what you were saying. And, I fully agree with that. Sorry, I think one of you guys wanted to say something, so I give you the floor.
Just get wrap up here. There will be a book that's coming out. One of our advisors, Devin Morty, has written multiple successful books and published them out, having a lot of success. That's something that we are getting together to get all of our documentation and everything, because there will be a book that will be coming out about the story of not only Undead Blocks but Wagyu Games.
But we want to write a little bit more of the ending first. Before that. we want it to be a successful story,
I love that, guys. You guys are immensely ambitious, relentless, and great guys. Every interaction that I've had with you guys has always been positive and friendly, and really rooting for you guys. I'm at like the stage where I'm known as like being pretty positive and pretty nice, and I love that because I want to make positivity louder, but at the same time I'm to be honest with you, Kyle and Ken, I'm a little jaded. My heart has been broken, and strained time and time again within crypto gaming. And to be fair, I think that it's to be expected. When you're the first, Indian over the hill, you're going to take a lot of, or cowboy over the hill, you're going to take a lot of arrows, sure, as they say, right? We are trying to pioneer a new path and cut down all the brush and debris as we pave a way forward. And so, it's probably to be expected. It's just, I don't know if I knew what I was signing up for 4 years ago, going through it. And I'm sure you guys probably feel the same, but like we're still here fighting and believing, and there's so much to be said for that conviction. So really appreciate it. Thank you, Llama, for the votes in the Blaze chat. Shout out to Llama, Redman, Killer from Undead Blocks on the Twitter chat. A bunch of people been sharing some thoughts. Sorry, I'm not sharing the chat with you guys, but we have had an active chat this whole time, and I appreciate all you guys. Gentlemen, you guys have been so gracious with your time. I know it's getting late in the evening, so this has been an incredible catch up with you guys. Thank you so much for the time. Thank you for the honesty and the transparency. It's crazy what you guys have gone through, but the fact that you went through it and have kept everything the same, the title, the studio, the token, yourselves, is really remarkable, because I think a lot of people would have rebranded or relaunched or pivoted this, that. You guys have incredibly ambitious goals, but I am going to be excited to watch you guys build it. Open invite to come back on the show anytime. Would love to keep in touch and document and share, each milestone that you guys have. And, we're always rooting for you guys. Let me speak on behalf of the crypto gaming community. I was playing Undead Blocks with Bryson in 2022. I was in the tournaments. My boy Roach Killa was playing the game back then. And so, really, really want you guys to succeed and show what this space can do when the good guys got to win,
100%. And more tournaments, other things like that to come. We've given away over $250,000 of trackable, verified funds. We make sure we pay everybody out. That's one of the biggest things about us as well. We do exactly what we say we're going to do.
Yep.
Yeah. Hard. Yeah. I that's all I've seen you guys do. So guys, thank you so much for your time. We're going to drop you off the stream now. We'll keep going on the stream, but
appreciate it.
Thank you so much once again. We'll keep in touch, and again, open invite. So DM me anytime you guys got something going on, and we'll find some time to bring you on.
Appreciate you, sir. Have a wonderful day.
All right, guys. Have a good one. All right, guys. That is Undead Blocks. What a story. What a story. Clap it up. W's in the chat for Kyle. W's in the chat for Ken. Yeah, I mean, I said it to them. I don't know if there's much more to say, man. Gentlemen and scholars. I don't know if we've seen a lot of studios, a lot of games fight for their dreams. This is why, it's hard for me to, it's hard for me not to root for a game like Shrapnel, right? Because I've spoken to some of the people there, and they're fighting for their game. And so it's really impressive to see. KG, thank you for jumping into the chat. KG's always been in the chats, always been in the comments, always been at the events, always, had a smile on, and just continues to be just a great guy, right? And same about Kyle. So really rooting for him, excited. I'm excited to see what they can do and what they can build, and a lot of this stuff that has been bubbling, it's certainly ambitious. We started talking about a DeFi protocol, a book, 2 more games, and I'm like, whoa, that's a lot, guys. That's a lot. But and that's, had we could go longer, I would ask a little bit more of don't you feel like that's a little too ambitious? The last studio that we saw want to launch 3 games, is Illuvium, and we see the hurdles and difficulties of doing that. But at the same time, when we look at these crazy people with these crazy ambitions and these crazy plans, like Illuvium, like Undead Blocks, like Wild World, like Parallel, like Off the Grid, like Star Atlas. It's like the crazy people are the ones that change the world, they only look crazy until they're right. And isn't that what you want in your founders, in your game developers, in the people that are leading these projects? You want them to be so what's the word? Encaptured, enthralled in what they're doing, and have this grandiose vision that they're trying really hard to bring to reality. So I got who am I to say anything, right? I'm a little old icy. What do I know? I love it, dude. I'm always rooting for the David and Goliath and the underdog, and pressure makes diamonds, and necessity is the mother of invention. So this is where innovation happens. These are my core beliefs, and you know, it doesn't always work out like that, but boy, when it does, is it the best story ever, right? So, guys, that's the show for today. Banger. Hopefully we made up for some of the lack of content this week. I do apologize about that once again. We didn't have a show Monday or Tuesday. I was scrambling to try and get guests. It just didn't happen. Then, you know, our guest last minute yesterday had to reschedule. So we're on the back foot. We're fighting on the back foot this week. But that was a banger. Shout out to Ken. Shout out to Kyle. Go follow if you guys want to stay up to date with Undead Blocks. Their Twitter handle is right there. That's Undead Blocks. This is Wagyu Games. Shout out to them there. Kyle Gordon is on Twitter at LackPCCETH. Shout out to Kyle. We've been, I don't know, man, you know, following each other since 2022. And then KG, that handsome lad right there, K Gamble Jr. Make sure you guys go follow them. Make sure that you support the sponsor of today's show, YGG Play, with their upcoming exclusive DGen mode for the Chad Stakers. If you've been playing Giga Chad Bat, which you should because it's a great game, a lot of fun, you can play for free. But if you want to go deeper, you can stake your Chad tokens, get the DGen mode, and play a bunch of, you know, I'm sure there's going to be multipliers and craziness all going there. You know, play with what you can only afford to lose and risk and all that good disclaimer stuff. Thank you, Llama, for dropping all of the links there in the Blaze chat. If anyone wants to go follow the gentleman from Wagyu Games and Undead Blocks, you can follow those links. Damn, Llama was fast with it. I appreciate you, brother. That's going to do it, guys, for me, little old Icy Gaming. Thank you to all of the sponsors that make the show possible. We're streaming on Blaze. Shout out to AI Rev. Shout out to Waifu Sweeper. Shout out to Giga Chad Bat. Shout out to Lowland and Yield Guild Games. We'll be back tomorrow with a game night. Llama, I think it's going to be too early or late for you. We're doing a game night at noon, 12 p.m. EST. The boys from Gaming Daily, AE and Eve, got some really fun stuff planned for us. I think that Kairo's Guild, Mark of the Zeal, is going to be hosting a game night for Heroes of Hold'em at like 10 a.m. So if you guys want to play Heroes of Hold'em at 10 a.m., check out Kairo's Mark of the Zeal Guild. I think we've shared it on Gaming Daily. I'll probably jump in there, have some fun with that. We'll probably be doing the game night. And then I'm just going to chill, to be honest. We're just going to chill. I got some AI stuff that I'm working on. How come people move faster when they are undead? That is a great question. Listen, these zombies don't mess around, Llama. Doji in the chat, I appreciate you. Killer from Undead Blocks, I appreciate you. Black Fox, Emperor Viking, KG, Subasa, Ice and Dark, Legends, Ghost Cat, JT. Appreciate everybody showing some love. Gabrielle, this local hero, T Flowers. We had Jerry in here. We had Sam. We had Peyton in the beginning. Much love to everybody. Maddox Makes, cannot forget you, brother. And guys, that's going to do it. Good night, good evening, good afternoon, good morning. Stay humble. Keep gaming. Keep dreaming. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
These are facts.
What do you plan to do if this whole dream of yours doesn't work
That
out?
doesn't even enter my consciousness.
It's only a matter of time before I'm staring at you from the cover of a Wheaties box.
These are facts.
What do you plan to do if this whole dream of yours doesn't work
That
out?
doesn't even enter my consciousness.
It's only a matter of time before I'm staring at you from the cover of a Wheaties box.
Flex, flex, now I'm flex. Got count clip in that purple. Got metal bitches.
These are facts.
I'm running Reynolds, Rexing. I'm having fun, just sex with my
What do you